recording. Where is it recording? Okay. So, Hare Krishna. Dandavad Pranam Prabhuji. This is Lilananda Prabhuji. 1 minute, I'll enable my. We met, I think, once in Vrindavan.
Mayapur Yatra.
Mayapur Yatra. Mahalingam Prabhu had introduced you, right?
Yes, Mayapur.
Hare
2017.
Yes, Prabhuji. Dandavad Pranam Prabhuji. Sorry, we are running between office calls, everything. So,
No, I understand.
yeah. So, Prabhuji, briefly, I would want to introduce you to everyone. So, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavad Pranam. So, we have Sakshi Achyut Prabhuji, and Prabhuji is in Krishna consciousness since 2004, while Prabhuji was pursuing his graduation in aerospace engineering at Chennai. Prabhuji has worked in various companies like Renault, Nissan, W.S. Atkins. Prabhuji is instrumental in starting youth centers in SRM Chennai, RVC Bangalore, NIT Trichy, and NIT Warangal. And Prabhuji has organized Bhagavad Gita context for more than 50,000 school children in various cities in Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Gujarat. And Prabhuji has joined full-time in the year 2012. And since then, Prabhuji has been rendering service as project advisor for NIT Warangal Voice Center. So that's only a brief introduction about Prabhuji. And Prabhuji has also given us Mahalingam Ayar Prabhu.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna. So let us welcome Prabhuji with 3 loud and enthusiastic Haribol. Haribol.
Haribol. Haribol.
So Prabhuji, a brief introduction about our group. I don't know if Anantago Prabhu has already told you. We are all situated in Hyderabad and in a place called Gachibowli. In and around Gachibowli. Few of us are a little far, but most of us in Gachibowli. It's called a high-tech city, and the place where you find big concrete buildings, deserted spiritually, and materially totally flooded. So we live in those skyscrapers, work in those glass offices, completely unaware of our spiritual identity. So we have decided to do Bhakti Shastri course so that at least there is some hope of knowledge remaining while we leave the body. So we are around 50 participants we registered, but at present 46 floating. 4 of them due to few issues they had to opt out. But most of us are working in IT, as you know how pressuresome the work environment is. And for us to come out at 6:30 itself is a big achievement. So we are somehow taking blessings of Radha Vrindavan Chandra and attempting to do this Bhakti Shastri within 1 year's time, which is 3 classes in a week. And so far, NOI has been a success so far. We have had good attendance. We are maintaining attendance in one Google sheet, and everyone updates there. And we have a coordinator who tortures everybody to update there. And then we also are looking forward for the oral exam of NOI along with the Isopanishad exam. We could not give that because Janmashtami and all festivals came in between. So that's pretty much, Prabhuji. I mean, you have any questions about us, you can ask. And
No questions from my side. I'm just a servant of all of you and I have to cover this Isopanishad. And I can understand for all of you to come and join by 6:30, it's so tough. And somehow all of you have joined this meeting. That itself is appreciable. And surely this Bhakti Shastri exam, which you are going to write, it will be quite easy. And open book, closed book. Because I can understand, because I was a student of Bhakti Shastri some years back. So I understand what it takes to study, especially when you're working outside and when you have to take out time, attend, and after attending, to go through the purpose of Prabhupada and then to open close book questions and answer it. And after that, write open book. It's not easy. Your attendance itself is very appreciable.
we're humble. Please, we are not the best of the students. We'll trouble you a lot. So please, in the beginning itself, we're asking you all forgiveness. And We will usually have around 38 to 36 logins, Prabhuji, because around 46, some of the couples join with single login. But we'll update the attendance sheet, and you can expect few more to join. I think there's a first class, so they are still. Mahalingam Prabhu himself is absent. See how unloyal to he is to his Shiksha Guru. Hare Krishna.
Sure, Prabhuji.
He'll be there. He'll be there.
So we'll start with the Mangala Charan.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Ajnanatimirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam mena tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Mena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauritse Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
And we are starting this on Ekadashi day. That's also an amazing part.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
So Ananda Gopal Prabhu is also here. Dandot Pram Prabhuji.
Yes. Prabhuji also
Hare
there.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for choosing Sakshi Achyut Prabhu for our course, Isopanishad.
Hare Krishna.
So we'll continue, Prabhuji, then.
Yeah. So we can begin our session with a discussion. I think already you finished Nectar of Instruction, right? I think Atmara Gaurang Prabhu and Anand Gopru.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Prabhu.
So I just wanted to know from all of you if you can help me find out from Nectar of Instruction first session, because that is something going to relate to today's discussion where we will carry forward from. Which was the most essential or some point which you could recollect from the Nectar of Instruction series of Bhakti Shastri. Is my sound audible enough?
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. You can share, initially you can share some points for some 2-3 minutes, and then I'll start asking some specific things. Then we can start from today, from Isopanishad. Anyone can contribute from the audience. So what was that one thing which you felt from Nectar of Instruction? Yes, this is very, very important for my spiritual practice in my personal life, which I could get from Srila Prabhupada purports, and which was really wonderful. While writing closed book, or while writing open book, or while attending the whole session on Nectar of Instruction, any of the one point which you could recollect, which was very, very striking to each one of you. And it can be individualistic, it can be many points. So I'm not going to take anything. I'm going to take 2-3 inputs from you, and then I'll come to the point.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Namaskara.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So, what I remember is, what I liked is the progress in spirituality depends upon the attitude and mentality of the practitioner. So that I remember.
Yes. Spiritual advancement, the success in spiritual life depends upon the attitude of the follower. Wonderful. This is what Prabhupada writes in the preface. It comes in the preface of Nectar of Instruction.
Links to his exam.
Okay, anybody else would like to share some point? Thank you, Santosh Prabhu, for sharing this wonderful point. Very, very amazing point. Accomplishment versus attitude. Attitude matters a lot. Haribol, thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Controlling mind and senses is more important for spiritual growth.
First verse of Nectar of Instruction. Vacho vegam, manasakrodha vegam, jiva vegam, udarupastha vegam. Yes. Bhakti starts with sense control. Although Bhakti is independent, it's Swarat, and it doesn't depend on anything. But advancement depends upon this first 6 vegas, which are mentioned in the first verse of Upadeshamrit. Yes. One more input from any one of you.
I remember learning verse 1 was how do we control the different types of urges, and in verse 2 I think we learned what are the different favorable conditions what destroys the path of devotion, and in verse 3 what are the 6 favorable conditions which helps in the spiritual practice, and yeah, these are some of the points which I remember. Like what are not favorable is prajalpa, laulyam, that is greed, such things. And what are favorable is giving charity, accepting charity, or inquiring confidentially about the other devotees, or eating prasadam, accepting prasadam. So favorable and non-favorable conditions, what a devotee needs to follow to advance in the transcendental.
Thank you, Mother, so much for your contribution. Yes, you contributed from the second verse. Atyahara parasasya prajalpanyam agraha janasangasya lolamsya shadbir bhaktir pranashyati. And then from the third verse, utsahat nishya dhairya tattat karma pravartana sangatyaga satyavritte shadbir bhakti prasiddhati. And then fourth verse speaks about 6 language exchanges, that bhuyam akyati prachati bhungte boyasi chaiva shadbir priti lakshanam. So Prabhupada writes in that purport, ISKCON has been opened with the intention of giving an opportunity for the people of this material world, an opportunity to interact with devotees. And with devotees, they can interact with 6 living exchanges, offering prasad, accepting prasad, and then offering gifts, accepting gifts, and then revealing in confidence, and then hearing their inputs. So Prabhupada writes about the life membership scheme there, and then Prabhupada writes about we call them to the temple and feed them on Sunday feast, and they invite us to their home for feeding us the Brahman Bhojan, and different people come and give donation. They give us gifts of money, Lakshmi. Then we give them Prabhupada books, full set of Prabhupada books. And then once they start becoming serious, and they start inquiring of how to practice bhakti, how to chant, how to offer, and then devotees revealed to them. Yes, thank you for the wonderful contribution. One question I would like to ask all of you. In the Nectar of Instruction series, there is a description of 3 types of adhikaris. Somebody can recollect from it that we are going to deal with Isopanishad also. Yeah, there's Kanishta Adhikari, there is Madhyam Adhikari, and Uttam Adhikari. And can someone help me find out what Prabhupada mentions there about these 3 adhikaris? What is special about these 3 adhikaris in that purport of 5th purport, I think so. 5th purport. Prabhupada mentions about this. Okay, I'll try to give
we should efficiencies in our mind, and for Madhyam Adhikari we should efficiencies like that one. And right, Prabhuji?
Yeah. Somebody is chanting the holy names, we should offer them respect in the mind. Anybody who is chanting, and then somebody is initiated, he's worshipping deities, we should offer Dandavata Pranam. This is correct. That description is there. So Prabhupada mentions in that purport one specific point for all of us. when it comes to adhikaris, one should accept Uttam Adhikari, spiritual master. Prabhupada says that some side effects, visuals, audio, visual sounds. Okay, fine. So coming back to the first verse of this Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada begins with Kunja Sauchavat, that elephant bath. Prabhupada mentions the analogy of elephant bath. Why Prabhupada mentions that analogy there? What point he wants to drive home?
He wants to bring out the point of atonement, Prabhuji.
Wonderful. What is real atonement?
So real atonement
Awakening
is
Krishna consciousness.
Yes, awakening dormant Krishna consciousness is real atonement. All of you have wonderfully done this Nectar of Instruction Bhakti Shastri. Your teachers have also taught very wonderfully, and all of you are very attentively have heard like anything. Yes. First verse is that, first part is about that only. There are two methods of awakening atonement. Prabhupada mentions the paragraph with traditional way of celibacy, brahmacharya, samena, damena cha, which generally what it takes in Vedic Varnashram. And then Prabhupada mentions about Vaidisatma Bhakti, that in the Krishna conscious moment you can just take up chanting Hare Krishna, follow Guru principles, and we can come to the level of real awakening of dormant Krishna consciousness. So this is a yoga ladder, the stereotype way of traditional way of coming up from the karma kanda, from uncivilized to civilized, then karma kanda, then karma, yoga, nishkama, sakama, nishkama, and then jnana, then ashtanga, then come to bhakti. So that is what is mentioned there. But the purpose of everything, whole Vedic literature, is to awaken dormant Krishna consciousness. This is a very, very wonderful point which Prabhupada mentions there. So coming back to Nectar of Instruction. Nectar of Instruction takes us from the stairs. It starts with Vachavegam and then takes us to the stars. That is the topmost pinnacle of blessings one can get in one's life. That is to get a mercy of Srimati Radharani. So the whole glorification of Radhakund, that it ends with how out of all the whole material world, of all the places, Mathura is the topmost. And in Mathura, Govardhan, and in Govardhan, a place called Radhakund is the topmost, and one should. So it ends with that. So basically, these two books, Nectar of Instruction and Nectar of Devotion, written by Rupa Goswami, Updeshamrita and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So Prabhupada has put these whole four books in our study of Bhakti Shastri. That is Nectar of Instruction, Updeshamrita, which you have already covered. There will be another book called as, which is a law book for ISKCON, that is Nectar of Devotion, that is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And this speaks about Abhidaya. This Nectar of Instruction of Nectar of Devotion speaks about the Abhidaya. And then what we're going to discuss apart from these two books is, we're going to discuss Bhagavad Gita and then Isopanishad. So when it comes to Isopanishad and Bhagavad Gita, these are the books which are more oriented to preaching application. If you see the open book exams, assignments, or if you see the closed book assignments, these are something like which refutes Mayavadism, or which refutes that God is not a person. It refutes the concept of how God is a person. And therefore, if you carefully analyze this, all these four books of Bhakti Rasam, this Bhakti Shastri, basically Isopanishad deals with understanding the nature of the Lord. So once you start Bhagavad Gita study, and when the Bhagavad Gita chapter starts, you will see that the setting of scene, then the second chapter is the content of Gita summarized, and third chapter when you come, then the main battle starts. Krishna tells Arjuna, you should fight. And Arjuna thinks, oh, but you are told in 2.49, Durena avaran ka karma, you should keep away all the sinful activities. But should I fight? I should not fight. The whole thing, it starts building up. Basically, if you see, the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita speaks about the yoga ladder, from uncivilized, civilized, karma kanda, karma yoga, sakama, nishkama, and then jnana, then ashtanga, then it comes to bhakti in 6th chapter. So similar, before that, Isopanishad speaks about what, basically everybody in this world is very much attached to fruits. The whole Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is speaking to Arjuna is that, Are Baba, don't give up the karma, but give the fruits of karma to me. And therefore, every time Krishna is telling that, Arjuna thinks that, okay, Krishna is telling me to give up the karma. And therefore, he asks like the same question again and again. And the end, he concludes with in the 18th chapter, Nashna Smoha Smritir Labba, Krishya Vachanam Tava. Same thing here for any Vedic follower. As Prabhupada mentions in the first verse of a Nectar of Instruction, traditional way of approaching God. One has to take up celibacy, and then Shamena, sense control, Damena, which is the traditional way, or which is a way one has to come through. Everybody is not fortunate to come through directly to Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti and then under the Guru and then practice it, do's and don'ts, and then directly come to the Ragana Bhakti and Bhava Bhakti and then Prem Bhakti. This is like shortcut which, by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have got it. But Isopanishad is a scripture which comes in the somebody who has gone through Karma Kanda and he has done with it, and he wants to realize, okay, there is nothing, it's simply a bitter fruit in karma, and he wants to come towards a divinity. He wants to approach what is there much higher purpose in life, something like this: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. So basically, Isopanishad comes under the jnana section of the scriptures, and therefore it starts off with invocation, which essentially is not a part of Isopanishad, but the invocation has been put up there. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudichyate. So when you speak about Upanishads, we have to understand three things in Vedic literature. The three parts of Vedic literature are, there is something called as Traya Prasthan. What is Traya Prasthan? Traya Prasthan relates to which Lord has revealed for the benefit of the human being. For example, when you have a machine, when you have a laptop, when you have a car, there's a manual. So similarly, we get manual of Vedic literature. So when God gives the Vedic literature, he gives it through revelation. He gives the knowledge himself. That is called as one part, which everything comes from the Lord himself. Lord breathes the Vedic literature. So that is one part of the Vedic literature. I'll come to it, what we define it as. Second part of Vedic literature is referring to what God has given to the living entities, to the different rishis and sages, to different sampradayas, different acharyas and the devotees of that particular time and place and circumstance, they compose something for the benefit of the humanity. That is another part of the section. That means some things are authored. Second thing which I'm speaking right now is, if anybody is having any doubt, you can raise your hands, you can put on chat, and you can ask immediately. You can stop me and ask, so that this section which I'm going to have an introduction now, it's little technical. So there are some scriptures which are authored by a person who is a human being here, who is a devotee, practicing person, and who is an acharya, are from this material world. And the second thing is which are revealed, the knowledge is revealed by the Lord himself. So that which is revealed by the Lord himself, yes, Prabhu, sure, you can carry on. Thank you for your presence. Hare Krishna. So that which is revealed by the Lord, that is called as Shruti. There is Lord himself is the author. It is coming from the divinity. It is coming from the higher paradigm. And that which is authored by someone is called as Smriti. The Shruti and Smriti. The Shruti is compared to the mother, and Smriti is compared to the daughter. What daughter does when a new somebody gets married and a new wife comes? So along with the wife, the sister also goes there, and mother-in-law also is there. But then the purpose of both of them is to know how much a newly wedded wife, she knows how much cooking or whatever it is, how much she can put, what quantity of chalk, what quantity of spices in it. And therefore, whatever mother wants to do, the daughter or the sister-in-law, she just supports it, and that is what Smriti does. So whatever Lord has revealed, the knowledge which Lord himself reveals, that is supported by the Smriti. And third part of the Vedic section is called as Nyaya Prasthan. There are three Prasthanas. Prasthan matlab, the way we can approach God. First is called as Shruti, which is revealed by the Lord. You hear it and you understand it, and then you retain your memory and you repeat it. That's called Shruti, which has no author. Lord himself reveals that knowledge through the different Vedas and Upanishads. So four Vedas and Upanishads, so especially Upanishads comes in the Shruti, Prasthan. And Smriti, like Puranas, Mahabharata, which have been authored by a author, that comes under Smriti. That just supports what Lord has revealed in terms of Upanishads and Vedas. The third section is Upanishads and Vedas. They give knowledge in terms of very, very small hints. And therefore, to logically understand it, that is a part of a Nyaya Prasthana, the logic. Like there is a theorem and there is a corollary if you have studied mathematics. What is the purpose of corollary? Just to reinstate what theorem is standing for. So this is not a part of Bhakti Shastri as such. This is not going to come in your Bhakti Shastri exam as such, but this is just a basic fundamental foundation before you start something. Isopanishad is very, very easy. Especially if you have been connected to ISKCON movement and if you have read Prabhupada books, and Prabhupada has given us so much before studying Isopanishad, because Isopanishad is for them who are already in Karma Kanda and they want to start, you take off from Karma, then come to Bhakti Yoga in between them. It's something between the Jnana, connecting link between the Bhakti and Karma. It is a Jnana section of the scriptures which speaks about divinity as Supreme Being as something very infinite, and he is beyond. The purpose of the goal of Vedic literature is not Dharma, Artha, Kama, but is moksha. Ishwar speaks about that. So again, to recollect, till now we have discussed three things. The knowledge which is revealed by the God, it's called Shruti. That which is authored by the sages and rishis of this world, it's called Smriti. The Shruti is like mother, Smriti is like sister or daughter, you can say. And then there is Nyaya, the logic. The logic which is mentioned by, again, it is being authored by the sages only. Like Vasudeva compiles Vedanta Sutra. Why he compiles Vedanta Sutra? So that whatever knowledge is there in Upanishad, which are little difficult to understand, which is happening on a different paradigm, to give a logic to understand it. These are the three things. So scriptures, Vedas can be divided into three parts: Vedic knowledge, Smriti, Shruti, and then Nyaya. These are the three prasthanas. So now coming to it, Isopanishad comes under which prasthan? Isopanishad comes under Shruti. And that is the reason Prabhupada compiled it. Because for any bona fide organization to substantiate its knowledge, it should have Shruti, Smriti, and Nyaya. So which is a Nyaya scripture for us? Vedanta Sutra. Vasudeva himself has compiled Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a crest jewel of all scriptures. And therefore, Vedanta Sutra, natural commentary for Vedanta Sutra is Srimad Bhagavatam. And therefore, Nyaya is present through that. And what is the Smriti for us? Smriti is Mahabharata, there is Ramayana, and because Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata, therefore there is a little twist in it because it has been spoken by Krishna. Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita, therefore it comes from Shruti. But most of the Acharya like Shankaracharya and other people don't accept that thing because it is a part of Mahabharata, and therefore it comes under Smriti. But if you see from the holistic point of view, from the definition of what is Shruti and Smriti, which is coming from the mouth of the Lord, is called Shruti. But because Lord Shri Krishna is playing a role in Mahabharata and he's trying to instruct his dear friend Arjuna, and this Mahabharata comes under Smriti, and therefore Bhagavad is also part of Smriti. And therefore, most important thing why Prabhupada chose Isopanishad is to back up his movement with one Shruti scripture. Because for any movement, there should be these three scriptures, three prasthanas: Shruti, Smriti, and Nyaya Prasthana to refute it. And therefore, in the whole introduction of this Isopanishad, what we are going to study now, we'll start reading it now, discussing it now. We'll come to the conclusion where Prabhupada mentions about this briefly. So coming to the point of Isopanishad, Isha Upanishad, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, 7th chapter, a discussion is happening between Prakash and Saraswati and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there is a purport where Prabhupada mentions about 108 Upanishads. He writes the name of all the Upanishads in the CC. And out of 108 Upanishads, 11 Upanishads are very, very important. I'll just try to share the screen for the further discussion to go ahead with. Yeah, Smriti and Ityasas are same. Ityasas are the part of Smriti. I got a question, what is the difference between Smriti and Ityasas? Yeah, it's history. So Puranas, Ityasas, okay? Yeah, so starting with Upanishad. What is Upanishad? I think all of you are able to see this. I think you are able to see the slide.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Fine. What is Upanishad? The word Upanishad can be divided into three things. Here is one definition of Upanishad, but there is much more wonderful or much more higher definition of Upanishad also. Upanishad can be divided into three words. If you break in Sanskrit, all words have a meaning. When different words combine together to give a profound meaning to it. Upa means, like today is Ekadashi, everybody is observing Upavas. They are fasting from grains. What is the meaning of Upavas? Upavas matlab, Upa matlab near, Vas matlab Lord. That which makes us bring near to the Lord. Upa matlab coming closer to Lord. And Vas matlab residential, taking residence very close to the Lord for that day. That's called Upavas. So what is the meaning of Upanishad? Upa means near. Near to what? Near to some dharma for kama? No. Dharma for artha? No. Dharma for moksha? Yeah, little bit. Somewhere, upa, matlab near. It will take us near. Where ni matlab here it is down, and shad matlab to sit. Okay, this is something grammatical definition of Upanishad. That which is to be learned by sitting down near the spiritual master and learn from it. So that is Upanishad. But there's another definition of Upanishad. What is the meaning of Upanishad is, Upa also means near. Ni also means certainly. And Shad means that which destroys, that which removes, and that which attains, helps us to attain. Upa means what? Near. Certainly what? Certainly destroys what? Certainly destroys ignorance. Certainly helps us attain what? Certainly helps us attain Supreme Person of Godhead, Hari. And another meaning of Nishad is being mentioned in this Vedic study is, yeah, that is the definition. Upa matlab near, ni matlab certainly, and shad matlab, shad has three meanings: destroys, helps us attain, and takes us nearer to the Lord. That is the meaning of Upanishad. So going to the next slide. So basically, the Karma Kanda scripture, they promise a lot of material benefits. But Upanishad is for them who has gone through that whole journey of Karma Kanda, but who has done with karma, who has done with dharma for karma, kama, and then artha. But now he wants moksha. He wants to know who is God. Therefore, Upanishad means destroys ignorance, destroys andhakara, and helps us attain the Supreme Person of Godhead. That is the meaning of Upanishad. So Vedas, Prabhupada begins with the discussion of the introduction to Vedas. What is Vedas? So Vedas are hymn chanted by the priests in the praise of gods. So Vedas can be divided into four parts. There is Rig Veda. What Rig Veda speaks about? It speaks about praise of Agni and Indra. And for all of your information, this slide is not going to come for your exams. So this is for information fundamental thing. What I'm going to show after this some 10 minutes, 15 minute discussion, I'm going to show the introduction of Isopanishad. I'll tell you, which will be very important for your study. But for information, there is Rig Veda. What is Rig Veda? Rig Veda speaks about praises of Agni and Indra, different demigods. There are praises of different demigods in it. Yajura, instruction for performing sacrifices. And Sama, it speaks about praises of Soma. Atharva, chants for healing. Here it is mentioned hearing and other things. It's healing, chants for healing, sickness, rights. So it's not hearing, it's healing. Okay. These are different scriptures which speaks about Vedas. And Vedas encourage satisfaction of material desires. So like if somebody wants to fulfill one's sense gratification, then one can approach Indra. This comes in second chapter, second canto, third chapter, 10th to 17th verse, first to 10th verse. Before that verse comes Akama, Sarvakama, Mokshakama, Udaradi, Tivrena, Bhakti Yogena, Jate Purusham Param. Before that verse, from 2.3.1 to 10, there's mention of so many demigods. If you want this, you approach this. Sukhdeva mentioned Parikshit Maharaj. If somebody worships this, you get this good progeny, Prajapati, fortune, Durga, power, Agni, money, Vasu's body, earth. If you want a very healthy, stouty body, then worship earth. So basically, one approaches dharma with the intention of artha, Why one gets artha? Because what money is sweeter than honey. One cannot enjoy life, and therefore one gradually goes through that journey of dharma, artha, kama, and then one comes to moksha. Then wants to understand realization, that self-realization. He wants to understand who he is, his atma. So Upanishad basically speaks about atma tattva. When atma tattva comes into the picture, atma is spiritual. Then who is the source of atma? That is Paramatma. And therefore, gradual elevation to transcendental life leads to Upanishad. Therefore, one has gone to the Karma Kanda section of the Vedic literature. Then one comes to Upanishads. So therefore, there is 4 Vedas. It speaks about different Karma Kanda, Yajnas and other things. But Upanishad speaks about Jnana section. It speaks about self-realization. So what is the conclusion? Conclusion is to take shelter of Lord Vishnu. And Srila Prabhupada, this is nothing but the, we are just going to the brief PPT of Isopanishad. So Upanishad marks beginning of spiritual life, because moksha means understanding about the knowledge of soul and the super soul. So when one comes to Upanishad after crossing through the Karma Kanda section, it's the beginning of spiritual life. And what one understands there, supreme absolute truth as non-material. We want to inquire about the Supreme Person of Godhead, but he is non-material. Can someone, if you have read Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada speaks about supreme absolute truth there. So when you, as soon as you get time after this session, you can go to the introduction of Bhagavad Gita. Before we start in the next session, Om Purnamada, there is a definition of supreme absolute truth is going to come. So Prabhupada mentioned in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita about what is the definition of supreme absolute truth. So this is one of the tasks you can go through it, so that when the next session starts, I'm going to ask this question to all of you. Supreme absolute truth. What can you, how you define, how Prabhupada defines supreme absolute truth in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita? He defines in a very, very wonderful way. That will be helpful for us for the invocation of the Isopanishad. And Upanishad denies Lord having a material form. Basically, demigods, when Karma Kandas mostly speaks about the yajnas for different demigods, for satisfaction of one's material desires. But all the demigods are having material forms. In Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter also, in 10th chapter also, 10th chapter, different forms of worship as mentioned there. Pratakvena and other things. And therefore here, the Upanishad, it draws a line between demigod worship and supreme worship of the Supreme Person of Godhead, the Nirgun. So when Nirgun is being mentioned, that means Lord is not having a material form. Lord has a form, but his form is not material, it is spiritual. But do assert a spiritual personality. So therefore Upanishad denies material form, but it reinforces Lord having a spiritual form. That means if Lord has a spiritual form forever, that means he's Supreme Person of Godhead. Vyasadeva mentions in Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 3rd chapter, Vadanti tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdati. So basically Upanishad begins with Brahman. Isopanishad begins with what? Brahman realization. Okay, fine. So 3 stages of one can realize God. If one wants to understand God, one wants to realize God, the first feature he feels is that Brahman feature. More of this we'll discuss in the first discussion of invocation and understand. Brahman, and then there is Paramatma, then there is Bhagavan feature. So Isopanishad starts with Brahman feature and it goes up to the Bhagavan feature at the end of the 18 mantras. Okay. So thus prepares way for understanding of Bhagavan, full of opulences. So I already discussed this Isopanishad, importance of Shruti and Smriti. There are 3 prasthanas: Shruti Prasthan, Upanishad, Veda. Smriti Prasthan, Puranas and Itihasa. Somebody was asking question, Itihasa is part of Smriti or Shruti? It's a part of Smriti. And then there is Nyaya. So coming back to here, there are 3 stages: Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. First is Brahman, and then slowly when one comes to Isopanishad, one starts going to this Jnana scripture, he understands that Lord is localized. And Mundaka, Sweta and Katha Upanishad speaks about Paramatma feature. Like I told, 108 Upanishads are there. Specifically, Mundaka, Sweta and Katha Upanishad speaks about the Paramatma feature of the Lord. It defeats Mayavada. Mayavada speaks that everybody is one. Right now we are in bondage, but once we come out of bondage, we can merge with the Supreme Person of Godhead. So that Paramatma feature is mentioned in these three kinds of Upanishads. And these Upanishads like Mundaka, Sweta and Katha, they defend Bhakti. And Bhakti is supreme. And then comes to Bhagavan. And this specifically Prabhupada chose this Isha Upanishad. Why? Because invocation is not a part of Isha Upanishad, which Prabhupada puts in this section. The first verse of Isha Upanishad is Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam Yat Kincham Jagatam Jagat. Because this word Isha comes there. And therefore this whole Upanishad derives the name as Isha. Isha Upanishad. Because there is first mantra, word Isha comes. Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam. Therefore, this whole Upanishad takes its name from the first verse of Isha Upanishad, Isha Vashyam. And therefore, this whole Isha Upanishad speaks about the Bhagavan feature, step by step by step. Yes, Prabhu. You have a raise of hand. Yeah, any question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So there are three Upanishads you are saying that support the Paramatma. What about other ones, Prabhuji? So I heard Upanishads give a lot of speculation, and that's why Mayavadis want to really comment on that. Do other Upanishads support Mayavada philosophy, Prabhuji? And what are the other Upanishads for? Like, is it?
Yeah, you have a very nice question. The whole Vedic literature is compiled by Vedas. And especially Upanishad I'm telling about, it speaks about the Jnana section. And nowhere in the Jnana section, there's something called as Mayavad. Mayavad matlab, Adi Shankaracharya, when he came, he used this scripture and wanted to give commentary. Like for Vedanta, or for Upanishad, or for Smriti, specifically for Shruti. Commentaries are generally given to Shruti. And based on the particular Pantha one is belonging to, based on the literature, the commentary comes Mayavadi. Like if the followers of Shankaracharya will try to give a comment on it, it will be Mayavadi commentary. The same thing if the followers of Ramanujacharya, Sri Vaishnavas, they give a commentary on all the Upanishad, that Upanishadic literature will be something very close to the culture what they follow. Like Ramanujacharya's Skanda of Mayavad and deity worship. So basically like that. So all the Upanishads are in such a way that it gradually brings a person from karma, jnana, ashtanga, then to bhakti. And therefore, when the Upanishad speaks about something, it speaks about divinity, basically. It speaks something that something is spiritual, Brahman platform. But Brahman is the first stage of realization of the absolute truth. And therefore, if Mayavadis want to give commentary on Mayavadi commentary, then it's up to them. But basically, all the Vedas contribute. If you have done engineering graphics, if you are from engineering background, there's a front view, there's a side view, there's a top view. So front view is the Brahman feature, the side view is the Paramatma feature, and the top view is the Bhagavan feature. So now everybody's perception, everybody has a right to understand their perceptions. So if Mayavadis have to give their perceptions, then it's their commentary, but we have nothing to do with that. But all Upanishads, they bring gradually the living entity from karma, and then to Jnana section, and then to bring him to the precinct of Bhakti section. And therefore, these different Upanishads, they specifically speak about Atma Tattva and Paramatma Tattva. And somehow they bring a living entity that, yes, there is something, I am a part and parcel of a supreme being, and I am supposed to dovetail my energy, I am supposed to dovetail my whole existence for the pleasure of him. It comes to that level. Okay, Prabhuji? Yeah. So we already discussed this thing, Prasthanatraya, Shruti, which is revealed by the Lord, Veda and Upanishads, that is revealed by the Lord, Smriti, Puranas and Ityasas, the histories and the different Puranas, these are being authored by the personalities of this world. And then there is Nyaya. Shruti is not so easy to understand. So logic, there is a logic given by there is a scriptures which have logic in it, which support the Shruti to make it understand, simplified way of understanding Shruti. That's called Nyaya. If this one definition is, if this is very clear, there are three prasthanas, Shruti, Smriti and Nyaya. And Vedanta Sutra comes under that Nyaya. So scholars deny, but all acharyas except Madhva's quote, Shankara on Bhagavad Gita, Ramanuja Rupa Goswami, Shruti is like mother, Smriti is like sister. So we are going to discuss today the introduction which Prabhupada gives in Isopanishad. I'll just share my notes. The PPT, I'll just try to close the PPT now. And what we'll try to do is, we have 45 minutes time. In this 45 minutes time, we'll try to cover the first section of our Isopanishad study, that is an introduction, which Prabhupada gives. It is an introduction given by Prabhupada in Conway Hall I'll just try to share the screen. After this introduction, I'll just show this flow chart. Okay. If you open Isopanishad's book hard copy, you will see this in it. The first part after the preface, teachings of the Vedas. And what it is nothing but the addition added. It has been a supplement added by the BBT Trust to the Isopanishad before the invocation. So that because Prabhupada had taken the Isopanishad to the Western world, and to anybody who is coming for the first time or is interacting for the first time with this kind of Vedic literature, some basic foundational elementary understanding of what Vedas. And this is important for your exams. What is in blue is important. What is in yellow? It's also important. Blue means more important. Yellow means important. Okay. Yes. So this is a lecture delivered by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada on October 6, 1969 at Conway Hall, London, in England. So what we can do is we can turn by turn try to read. You don't have to go through the whole thing. First paragraph I'll try to read. After some time, you just read the title and read the blue and yellow part. That will give you the whole discussion of, because you have the book with you and you can go through it at your leisure time for the preparation of your exams. But some important themes of what has been covered in the introduction. How we can read Prabhupada books. Prabhupada books have connections. Prabhupada books have one after one, Prabhupada puts wonderful points. If you read it if you really see it from that point of view and read, you'll understand how Prabhupada is building the concepts, how it's coming to the concepts and trying to put his points. So what are Vedas? Veda means knowledge. So ladies and gentlemen, today's subject matter is the teachings of Vedas. We are starting Isopanishad today, right now. What are the Vedas? The Sanskrit verbal root of Veda can be interpreted variously, but the purport is finally one. Veda means knowledge. Any knowledge you accept is Veda. For the teaching of the Vedas are the original knowledge. So basically, Prabhupada is saying, Veda means what? Knowledge. Or anywhere you find knowledge, that should have source in the Vedas that has been given by the Lord, whatever it is. So in the conditioned state, but okay, there's so much of knowledge, but why we are not able to apply it? Why we are not able to accept it so easily? So now, next point, the second point, why it is categorized? So now Veda means knowledge. If knowledge is there, then there is no problem. But why there is so much of problem in the material world? Because of, in the conditioned state, our knowledge is subjected to many deficiencies. Why? We have 4 defects. So the second title, look, this is present in a form of a whole paragraph, but I have divided into different 10 sections for our understanding. It becomes very easy how Prabhupada is trying to build up the whole point. Although Vedas are knowledge, but because we have 4 defects. Who has 4 defects? Conditioned souls, not liberated souls. Yes. 4 defects of the conditioned souls. Yes. Can I request Satyadev Prabhu? Can you read this?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
The difference between a conditioned soul and a liberated soul is that the conditioned soul has 4 kinds of defects. The first defect is that he must commit mistake. Even great, I'm going to the highlighted section, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Please go to the highlighted section. Yeah.
Even great personalities like Mahatma Gandhi, President Kennedy, there are so many of them, make mistakes. To err is human. This is one defect of the conditioned soul. Another defect.
Okay, Prabhu. Yeah. So basically, Prabhupada is speaking about the knowledge Vedas. What is the difficulty to accept knowledge of Vedas? Because we think we are in the conditioned state, we have 4 defects. And the first defect is we commit mistake. And Prabhupada is giving an analogy. Mahatma Gandhi was there. He had been warned by his assistants, but still Mahatma Gandhi went to a meeting and then he was shot. So to err is human. Prabhupada is giving that analogy. So yes, please go to the second defect.
Another defect, to be illusioned. The illusion means to accept something which is not Maya. Maya means what is not. Everyone is accepting the body as the self.
Okay, Prabhuji. So Lord Brahmaji gives this knowledge in Bhagavatam 2nd canto 6th chapter to Narad Muni. So Narad Muni asks a question. I am seeing that I have now never seen anybody beyond you. And I thought you are like a spider who creates a web and you are the source, you are the origin, you are the architect of this universe. But I see sometime that you are also taking out your mala and trying to chant somebody's holy names. That means you're also doing some sadhana. That means somebody is beyond you. Is it? Yeah, in that section, Brahmaji gives a definition that Chatushloki comes Bhagavatam in the 9th chapter, 2nd canto, 9th chapter. Lord Shri Hari reveals, Lord Vishnu or Krishna reveals, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kaviye. He reveals whole Srimad Bhagavatam in Chatushloki. And in that Chatushloki, one of the shloka is that which is very attractive and doesn't remind you. In the same discussion from 6th chapter to 9th chapter, Brahma defines what is Maya. Maya, definition of Maya is when you see something attractive, it doesn't remind you of Lord. This is a simple definition of Maya. Everything is coming from Lord himself. What his beauty is there, this wonderful scriptures are there, wonderful scenic beauty is there. A pure devotee sees from a different perspective. Conditioned soul sees from a different perspective. But Brahmaji gives a definition of Maya. You think we get to see something attractive and that makes us forget Lord, or that doesn't give us connection with the Lord, that is called as illusion, that which is not. That is the definition of Maya. So defect of, and the second defect is what? Illusion. Illusion means to accept something which is not. Actually, it is not attractive. Actually, it has no basis. The whole fundamental is Lord. Beginning there is God, middle there is Lord Hari, end there is Lord Hari. But that which has been created in such a way to facilitate the conditioned soul's enjoyment, which makes them forget Supreme Person of Godhead, that is called as Maya. Yeah. We can go to next devotee. We can read the next part, third defect. I think whatever, I'll just, Sri Gopal Bro, can you read the third defect?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. The third defect is the cheating propensity. Although a person is full number one, he poses himself as very intelligent. He writes books of philosophy.
Prabhuji, can you read little louder?
Sorry, Prabhuji. Yeah. Although a person is a full number one, he poses himself as very intelligent. He writes books of philosophy, although he is defective. That is his disease. That is cheating.
Okay. So what is the third defect is, everybody, we commit mistakes, we are in illusion, we are not knowledgeable. Still what we want to prove is that we want to pose ourselves intelligent. So Prabhupada mentioning here, one may be full number one, he writes books on philosophy, although is defective, that is a disease, that is cheating propensity. Yes, Prabhu. Next, can you read the next one, last one?
Lastly, our senses are imperfect. We cannot therefore expect knowledge, Veda, with these imperfect senses. With all these deficiencies in conditioned life, we cannot give perfect knowledge to anyone, nor are we ourselves perfect. Therefore, we accept the Vedas as they are.
Okay. So therefore, the last defect is what? Imperfect senses. I think this already all of us know. This is the beginning session which we attend in the journey of self-discovery or discover yourself. We have imperfect senses. Because senses are imperfect, therefore anything we do, we commit mistakes, we don't get accurate results. Apart from that, we are in illusion. There's another software put by the Lord, we are in illusion, and because of that we commit mistakes. These are the 4 defects. And therefore, because of these 4 defects, what Prabhupada is trying to tell here is, now nor are we ourselves perfect, therefore we should accept the Vedas. So Prabhupada is giving a refutation. Veda means knowledge. Why people don't accept Veda? Because of the 4 defects. And Prabhupada is trying to reinforce that 4 defects and tell that therefore we should accept Vedas. Okay, we'll go to the next part. So why, one may ask a question, but Vedas, who have proved the Vedas? So Prabhupada is putting it's like a Prabhupada lawyer, you know. He puts an argument and defeats that argument. He told Veda is knowledge, and why people don't accept Vedas because of 4 defects. But we should accept Vedas. But somebody may ask a question, what is the proof for Vedas? That is the next step. Prabhupada mentions it wonderfully, puts a wonderful logic here. Vedas are axiomatic truth which don't require any proof. Okay. So what is meaning of axiomatic truth? First part he mentions about the Varnashram. We are not Hindus, we are Varnashram. Then there is Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Then Brahmana refers to intelligent class, Kshatriya refers to administrator class. Then he mentioned about the Vaishya, the mercantile class. These natural classifications are found everywhere. This is Vedic principle and we accept it. So why I highlighted this blue part means it is trying to substantiate the main title. What Prabhupada is trying to put in the whole paragraph here is Vedas are axiomatic truths. Your 4 defects, we should accept Vedas, but Vedas have no proof. Vedas are truth because it is coming from Lord, it's Shruti, but it does not require any proof. Therefore, Prabhupada is telling here about 4 Varna, 4 Ashrama, we accept it because this is Vedic principle. Yeah. So Vedic principles are accepted as axiomatic truth, for there cannot be any mistake. That is acceptance. And Prabhupada is giving an analogy of, in India, cow dung is accepted as pure, and yet cow dung is a stool of an animal. Because there is a mention that if you touch stool, you should take bath. But we take cow dung and we try to apply it. So that is purified. Because Vedas speak, and then Prabhupada gives at the end. In Calcutta, a very prominent scientist and doctor analyzed cow dung and found that it contains all antiseptic properties. So Prabhupada is trying to build what here, you know, somebody may ask a question. Vedas speak about contradicted things, like when Mountbatten came and different viceroys came. They learned Sanskrit, they translated in English, and they started telling, you know, you people tell you should not touch bone. If you touch bone, you should take bath. If you touch stool, you should take bath. But you people are only touching, you know, cow dung. People are only using conch shell and trying to do abhishekam of the deities. They put contradictory. It's a puro paksha, and different you know refutations are there in Sanskrit. They put different debates and different reputations, and Prabhupada is trying to defeat all those things. And Prabhupada is telling here, okay, the more contradictory part is cow dung, stool of animal, but it is purifying. And recently from Pratyaksh Praman also it has been proved in Calcutta. A very prominent scientist and doctor analyzed cow dung and found that it contains all antiseptic properties. Therefore, Vedas has to be accepted without any questioning. It is axiomatic truth. Yes, Prabhu. Can we ask next devotee? Who's the next devotee? Anybody else can volunteer to read this part, yellow part? This basic.
Krishna.
Prabhuji, let me.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yellow part.
India.
Yeah. In this way, in this Vedic injunction, okay, that I have to follow you without any argument. Vedic injunctions cannot be interpreted, but ultimately, if you carefully study why these injunctions are there, you will find that they are all correct.
Example here, I have not highlighted it. In India, most of the time when you see, if you go to South India or if you go to any part of the India, when you're doing something, somebody says Veda Vakyama. In India, if one person does another, you must do this. The other party may say, what do you mean? Is it a Vedic injunction? Is a Veda Vakya? That means Veda Vakya matlab, it's like line on a rock. It doesn't require any, it has to be correct. That is what Prabhupada is mentioning here. That is the meaning of Vedic injunction. Yes, Prabhupada, please continue.
Okay, the Vedas are not complications of human knowledge.
Compilations
of human knowledge. Vedic knowledge comes from the spiritual world, from Lord Krishna. Shruti refers to the knowledge which is acquired by hearing. It is not experimental knowledge. Shruti is considered to be like a mother. If you want to know something beyond your experience, beyond your experimental knowledge, beyond the activities of these senses, then you have to accept the Vedas. There is no question of experimenting. It has already been experimented. It is already settled. The version of the mother, for instance, has to be accepted as truth. There is no other way.
Yeah. So Vedas are like a mother. Then Vedas point out who father is. Like mother knows who father is, and the child who approaches the mother, then he will understand who father is. Similarly, if you approach Vedas, they are like mother, and Vedas can never be false. It is correct, and they can give us a knowledge of God. That is the meaning here. The Shruti is compared to mother. So that is what. So we have come to the third part. Vedas are knowledge. 4 defects makes us not to approach Vedas, and therefore it's must for us to accept Vedas. Somebody could ask question, what proof you have? Many times when you go outside, when you shoot Prabhupada books, and when you start speaking about Vedic literature, about spirituality, people ask, do you have any proof? But the whole definition of Vedic literature is that, yeah, you may get a little bit here and there, hint like Prabhupada's quoting here, cow dung is so purifying and other things. But Vedic, by definition, Vedic knowledge is axiomatic truth, which does not require any proof. And who can understand this? One who has Shraddha, one who has one whose good fortune has arisen. He starts getting faith in the Vedic knowledge. The whole process of preaching is to increase scrutiny of a living entity, where he can come to the point of accepting Vedic literature, and that comes when he interacts with the devotees. So now Prabhupada mentions about how we gain knowledge. Knowledge, Vedas are knowledge. Again, he comes back to the point that, okay, one may ask this question: Vedas are axiomatic truths. So Vedas are like mother. Vedas are considered to be mother. So here explains about three kinds of evidences. So Vedic knowledge is not like Pratyaksha Anuman. Vedic knowledge is Shabda Praman. And therefore, next part of the paragraph, Prabhupada is speaking about the Vedic knowledge comes under Shabda Praman. Three kinds of evidences. How it is bona fide. Yes, Prabhu, we can ask.
I'll read, Prabhuji.
Yeah, please read.
The Vedic knowledge comes down by disciplic succession. If you make experimental endeavor, you come to the same conclusion. But just to save time, you should accept. If you want to know who your father is, and if you accept your mother as the authority, then whatever she says can be accepted without argument. Pratyaksha, Anumana, Shabda.
Yeah, here I have not highlighted it, but here you can read these three kinds of evidences.
There are three kinds of evidence: Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Shabda. Pratyaksha means direct evidence. Direct evidence is not very good because our senses are not perfect.
Yeah, I can read the whole thing, white thing, because this is something important.
Yeah.
Because if
We are
somebody
seeing the sun daily, and it appears to us just like a small disk, but it is actually far larger than many planets. Of what value is this seeing? Therefore, we have to read books, then we can understand about the sun. So direct experience is not perfect. Then there is Anumana, inductive knowledge. It may be like this hypothesis. For instance, Darwin's theory says it may be like this, it may be like that. But that is not science. That is a suggestion, and it is also not perfect. But if you receive the knowledge from authoritative sources, that is perfect. If you receive a program guide from the radio station authorities, you accept it. You don't deny it. You don't want to make an experiment because it is received from the authoritative sources. Vedic knowledge is called Shabda Pramana. Another name is Shruti. Shruti means that is knowledge has to be received simply by oral reception. We have to hear from the authorities. Thus, to acquire full knowledge is impossible.
Yeah. So after building this Vedas as knowledge, four defects, and with our axiomatic truth, so Prabhupada is trying to tell that any knowledge you gain in this world is through three evidences: Pratyaksha, Anuman, Shabda. But Pratyaksha can give you incomplete knowledge. How much experiments can you do? Because you have imperfect senses, and therefore experiments will also be imperfect. Seeing is believing is the argument. Anuman, it's not a science, it's a hypothesis, it's a suggestion. How that can fetch you right knowledge? Then Prabhupada comes to, if you want to get some news, if you want to get some information, then you go to the program guide, radio station, you hear from authority, which is sanctioned by the government. And then whatever information is given there, you can accept it as authoritative. So like, we never question which comes in from government of India. We never question the 500 rupee note, 100 rupee note, because it is from RBI. So similarly, Vedic literature, it has a stamp of Supreme Person of Godhead, provided it is coming in proper parampara, bona fide authority. And that is what Prabhupada is trying to mention here. That whether axiomatic truth, which is not requiring proof, apart from that, Vedas are coming under Shabda Praman. And therefore, to acquire full knowledge is impossible. Without Vedic knowledge, you cannot understand knowledge beyond the universe. Because before that, in a white part, Vedas instruct that this section, what Prabhupada is trying to tell here, in order to understand transcendent knowledge. The transcendent knowledge is knowledge beyond this universe. Within this universe is material knowledge. And beyond this universe is transcendent knowledge. We cannot even go to the end of the universe. So how can you go to the spiritual world? Therefore, if you want to know about something beyond this universe, we require Vedic knowledge. Okay. So therefore, what is mentioned here is, if you see in the blue part, if you make experimental endeavor, you come to the same conclusion. But just to save time, you should accept Vedic literature. We can go to Pratyaksha Praman, we can go to Anuman Praman, but Shabda Praman, what happens? If you accept Shabda Praman, we will save our time. That is what it is in the next section. So by accepting Shabda Praman, what happens? the intelligent opt Shabda Praman. Why? Because Pratyaksha will take so much of time. Anumana takes so much of time. Bhunam Janmanamante Dhyanvam Prapadate Vasudev Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. The Prabhupada is directly giving his purpose. Here is Supreme Person God accepting. And if we can put that faith in Prabhupada and accept it, that can save so much of our lifetimes can be saved. Therefore, the next section, the next paragraph is that if Vedas are in Shabda Praman, and if you have to know complete knowledge from Vedic knowledge from Shabda Praman only, so why everybody don't accept it? Because only people who are Sumedasa, they accept Shabda Praman. The intelligent opt Shabda Praman. Because why? It saves a lot of our time. Yes, we can request someone else to read this section. Yeah, Ms. Mataji, you can go ahead. You start with there is spiritual sky. From there you read. It will be connecting. Yeah.
From the blue highlighted one, it is not possible.
No, here. From here you can read.
That spiritual sky, there is another nature which is beyond manifestation and non-manifestation. But how will you know that there is a sky where the planets and inhabitants are eternal? All this knowledge is here. All this knowledge is there. But will you make experiments? It is not possible. Therefore, you have to take the assistance of the Vedas. This is called Vedic knowledge. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we are accepting knowledge from the highest authority, Krishna. Krishna is accepted as the highest authority by all classes of men. I'm speaking first of the two classes of transcendentalists. One class of transcendentalists is called impersonalistic, Mayavadi. They are generally known as Vedantists led by Shankaracharya, and there is another class of transcendentalists called Vaishnavas like Ramanujacharya, Madhavacharya, Vishnu Swami. Both the Shankara Sampradaya and the Vaishnava Sampradaya have accepted Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. So
yeah,
Krishna,
you can come here, Mataji, to the blue highlighted.
So Krishna is accepted as the supreme personality of Godhead by all transcendentalists. Our source of knowledge in Krishna consciousness is the Bhagavad Gita, which comes directly from Krishna. We have published Bhagavad Gita as it is because we accept Krishna as he is speaking without any interpretation. That is Vedic knowledge. Since the Vedic knowledge is pure, we accept it. Whatever Krishna says, we accept. This is Krishna consciousness that saves much time. If you accept the right authority or source of knowledge, then you save much time. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So therefore, I given the title of this paragraph as Intelligent of Shabda Praman. Why? Because all of us have so small time. We are in Kali Yuga, in that we have 60-70 years. In that we have to go to, in Gachibowli, there are so many software companies and they have such tight schedules. And after that, the end of the day, you have to come to Bhakti Shastri and then you have to attend it and hear it. So all of you are all intelligent human beings because you have taken a Krishna consciousness. And now Prabhupada is mentioning the same point here. Intelligent of Shabda Praman, because it saves a lot of time. Imagine with this kind of schedule, you want to go through the all 4 Vedas, then you have to go to Puranas, then you have to learn Sanskrit first of all, then try to read a Tika on your own. It's become so difficult by Pratyaksha, Anumana, or even if you come to Shabda Praman, if you don't come in bona fide Parampara, it takes so much of time. But Krishna consciousness means we accept authority, we trust the authority, that saves much time if you accept the right authority. That is what the intelligent person does. So therefore, once we opt Shabda Praman, then how to proceed, how to go ahead with the Shabda Praman. So the next theme is 2 systems of knowledge and 2 qualifications of bona fide guru. Somebody may ask a question, why not I find experimentally I find the knowledge, why I have to accept it? So therefore Prabhupada gives again that refutation. Yes, someone else can read. Somebody who has not read till now.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. So there are 2 systems of knowledge in the material world. Inducitive and deductive.
Yeah, you can read the whole white portion. That will be very clear. Yeah.
From deductive, you accept that man is mortal. Your father says man is mortal. Your sister says man is mortal. Everyone says man is mortal. But you do not experiment. You accept it as a fact that man is mortal. If you want to research to find out whether man is mortal, you have to study each and every man. And you may come to think that there may be some man who is not dying, but you have not seen him yet. So in this way, your research will never be finished. In Sanskrit, this process is called aroha, the ascending process. If you want to attain knowledge by any personal endeavor, by exercising your imperfect senses, you will never come to the right conclusion. That is not possible.
So this is two systems of knowledge. One is called as inductive, deductive, ascending or descending. Ascending is inductive. From your side you start. Okay, the way science goes, the way Pratyaksha and Anuman goes. From your side, you take a speck and try to investigate it. Oh, life has come from matter, or life has come from life. You go back, like that. Deductive means already there is a source of knowledge, and you get connected to them, and they bestow that knowledge to you in parampara. That is called as deductive knowledge, descending process. Okay. And that is what Prabhupada is giving the analogy here. Yes, Prabhu. You can read the yellow portion.
Okay, Prabhuji. So no need to read a white one, Prabhuji?
You can read white. It is irrelevant because then it will come to the conclusion. Yes.
There is a statement in the Brahm Samhita, just ride on the airplane which runs at the speed of mind. Our material airplanes can run 2000 miles per hour. But what is the speed of mind? You are sitting at home, you immediately think of India, say 10,000 miles away, and at once it is in your home. Your mind has gone there. The mind speed is so swift. Therefore, it is stated, if you travel at this speed for millions of years, you will find that the spiritual sky is unlimited. It is not possible even to approach it. Therefore,
so what Prabhupada is trying to make a point here is, if somebody thinks that by inductive knowledge one can get knowledge of God, even if you get an aeroplane and you can travel the speed of the mind, still you cannot even come to the effulgence of Krishna's toenails. This is what Brahma Samhita says. And that is what Prabhupada is quoting here. It's a Brahma Samhita verse which is being quoted here. Pantastu Koti Satasambam. Yeah. Continue with the highlighted portion. Therefore, Prabhupada is coming back again. Yes, you can read that.
Therefore, the Vedic injunction is that one must approach the world compulsory, is used a bona fide spiritual master, a guru. And what is the qualification of a spiritual master? He is one who has rightly heard that Vedic message from the right source, and he must practically be firmly established in Brahman. These are the two qualities he must have, otherwise he is not a bona fide. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So here what is Prabhupada mentioning in this section of this paragraph is two system of knowledge, ascending, descending. Ascending is going to take a lot of time. Again is coming, Prabhupada uses the same analogy. Each again and again he comes back telling, save your time, become intelligent, accept Vedic literature. But again, it's not that you have to come to Vedic literature, therefore you can go to any channels on ETV or this TV, that TV and start hearing from anyone, Tom, Dick and Harry. No. You have to approach a spiritual master. So one who understands, okay, abhi mujhe guru apnana hai, now I should accept a guru. Then what is the qualification of a guru? Qualification of a guru is Brahmanishtam and Upashrayashram. That means he should be Brahmanishta. He should have realized the conclusion of the Vedic literature. Compulsory. And what is that? He should have rightly heard the Vedic message from the right source. That means he should have heard the knowledge from the right source, from the Vedas. And he must be firmly established in a Brahmanishtam. And Shabde Pranita Nishnatam. Shabda Pranita Nishnatam means coming in bona fide authority. That is meaning of first part. One who is rightly heard the Vedic message from the right source. He should come in Parampara system. This first qualification. Rightly heard from the message from the right source. Second qualification is Brahmanishtam. That means he should be firmly established in the Brahman. These are two qualifications. This is very, very important point, because introduction, the most important theme is this, that Vedas, we have Vedas, but to access Vedas, we need a spiritual master. And what is the qualification of spiritual master? Qualification of spiritual master is that he should have heard it from Shabde Pranita Nishnatam, Brahmani Ashramashayam. He should have Sakshatkar of the Brahman. and should have heard the Vedic literature from the right source. Practically be firm in the established in Brahman. So these are the two qualifications. Otherwise, he is not bona fide. Parampara, and he should act achar and then prachar. So then after understanding this thing, okay, we have got Vedas, 4 defects are there, fine. Vedas are axiomatic, understood. There is ascending, descending process, no issue. Ascending, descending process has to be accepted. Then I should accept a guru for understanding the descending process. And that guru should have 2 qualifications, Brahmanishtam and Brahmani Upashrayashram. That means Shabda Pranatishnatam. He should have heard in bona fide authority, and he should be realized. He should be on the situated on the level of Brahman platform. Then what? Then what is the goal of Vedas? That is the next thing. Prabhupada is coming to the next thing. Someone can help me read out this one?
I'll read it, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, please go ahead. Read the title, and then you can read the blue highlighted point. Or you can read the whole paragraph, 5 paragraph. No issue.
Name of Vedas, Lord Krishna, although his form is inconceivable, but his devotees easily deliver him to others. This Krishna consciousness movement is completely authorized from Vedic principles. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, the actual aim of Vedic research is to find out Krishna. In the Brahma Samhita, it is also stated, Krishna, Govinda has innumerable forms, but they are all one. They are not like our forms, which are fallible. His form is infallible. My form has a beginning, but his form has no beginning. It is Ananta. And his form, so many multiforms, has no end. My form is sitting here and not in my apartment. You are sitting there and not in your apartment. But Krishna can be everywhere at one time. He can sit down in Goloka Vrindavana, and at the same time, he is everywhere, all pervading. He is original, the oldest, but whenever you look at a picture of Krishna, you will find a young boy, 15 or 20 years old. You will never find an old man. You have seen pictures of Krishna as a charioteer from the Bhagavad Gita. At that time, he was not less than 100 years old. He had great grandchildren, but he looked just like a boy. Krishna, God, never becomes old. That is his supreme power. And if you want to search out Krishna by studying the Vedic literature, then you will be baffled. It may be possible, but it is very difficult. But you can very easily learn about him from his devotee. His devotee can deliver him to you. Here he is, take him. That is the potency of Krishna's devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for reading. So this is the theme. The aim of Vedas. Lord is so inconceivable. He has many, many forms. Rama, the Murti, Shukala, Yemena Tishtam. So he has so many forms. And again, Upanishad, Isopanishad is going to speak about it in 4th, 5th, 6th verse, which is so inconceivable form. But by the mercy of spiritual master, who has this 2 qualification, who is rightly heard from the right source, and is firmly established in Brahman, that such a spiritual master, a devotee, can deliver us that Lord Krishna very easily. That is the glory of Shabda Praman. Shabda Praman, that too when it comes under bona fide parampara, that too one accepts a spiritual master who has this 2 qualification. What is the glory of that? That is what we just read now. So Krishna is inconceivable, but a devotee can easily deliver him to us. So then, after knowing all these things, what is the origin of Vedas? So Vedas are Shruti. It has been heard since time immemorial. So how come it came in the writing? What is that made this whole Vedic literature to be written in book form? So that is the next section. That is what Prabhupada concludes the whole introduction. We have 2 more points here. 10 points are there. So yes, someone else can read now. After understanding how Lord is inconceivable, but the devotee can easily deliver him to us. So this is a section ends here. But how the Vedas, which are so vast, was written in the book format. Yes.
Vyasdev
Yes,
put the
Mataji,
Vedas.
please go ahead.
Yeah. Vyasdev put the Vedas in writing, forcing the condition of people of Kali Yuga. Originally, there was only one Veda, but there was no necessity of reading it. People were so intelligent and had such sharp memories that by once hearing from the lips of the spiritual master, they would understand. They would immediately grasp the whole purport. But 5,000 years ago, Vyasdev put the Vedas in writing for the people in this age, Kali Yuga. He knew that eventually the people would be short-lived, their memories would be very poor, and their intelligence would not be very sharp. Therefore, let me teach the Vedic knowledge in writing. He divided the Vedas into four: Rig Veda, Sama, Atharva, and Yajur. Then he gave the charge of these Vedas to his different disciples. He then thought of the less intelligent class of men, Stri, Shudra, and Dvijabandhu. He considered the women class and Shudra class, worker class, and Dvijabandhu. Dvijabandhu refers to those who are born in a high family but who are not properly qualified. A man who is born in the family of a Brahmana but is not qualified as a Brahmana is called a Dvijabandhu. For this person, he compiled the Mahabharata, called the History of India, and the 18 Puranas. These are all part of the Vedic literature: the Puranas, the Mahabharata, the four Vedas, and the Upanishads. The Upanishads are part of the Vedas. Then Vedvyas summarized all Vedic knowledge for scholars and philosophers in what is called the Vedanta Sutra. This is the last word of the Vedas.
Yeah, thank you, Mother. So here we can see Traya Prasthan. So Vedas, Rig, Sama, Atharva, Yajur, and Upanishad is Shruti. Mahabharata and Itihas, 18 Puranas are Smriti, and then Vedanta is a Nyaya. So Prabhupada mentioned it in his purport. He has mentioned it, but we can understand it. In this paragraph it comes. So one Veda was given into many Vedas. It was divided into Shruti, Smriti, and Nyaya, so that different classes of people can approach Lord based on the audience ability of the audience to digest truth. That particular Vedic literature was made and given to them according to their ability to digest truth. So next part, after understanding one Veda was divided into so many Vedas, and so that people can accept it, recorrect it, assimilate it. So what is the summary of the whole Vedic knowledge? The summary of the Vedic knowledge is the Vedanta Sutra, and its ultimate objective, Lord Krishna, can be understood by reading Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Yes, someone else can read. Next.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu, please carry on.
Yeah. Vyasdeva personally, I want to read, you can read.
Carry on, Prabhuji. Thank
Vyasdeva personally wrote the Vedanta Sutra under the instructions of Narada, his Guru Maharaj, spiritual master, but still he was not satisfied. That is a long story described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Vedavyasa was not very satisfied even after compiling many Puranas and Upanishads, and even after writing the Vedanta Sutra. Then his spiritual master Narada instructed him, "You explain the Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta means ultimate knowledge, and the ultimate knowledge is Krishna." Krishna says that throughout all the Vedas, one has to understand him. Vedaishta sarvar ahameva vedya. Krishna also says, Vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. I am the compiler of the Vedanta Sutra, and I am the knower of the Veda. Therefore, the ultimate objective is Krishna. That is explained in all the Vaishnava commentaries on Vedanta philosophy. We, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, have our commentary on Vedanta philosophy called Govinda Bhashya by Baladeva Vidyabhushana. Similarly, Ramanujacharya is a commentary and Madhvacharya is one. The version of Sankaracharya is not the only commentary. There are many Vedanta commentaries, but because the Vaishnavas did not present the first Vedanta commentary, people are under the wrong impression that Sankaracharya is the only Vedanta commentary. Besides that, Vyasadeva himself wrote the perfect Vedanta commentary, Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the first words of the Vedanta Sutra, Janmadhyasya Yataha. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, first verse. And that Janmadhyasya Yataha is fully explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. The Vedanta Sutra simply hints at what is Brahman, the absolute truth. The absolute truth is that from whom everything emanates. That is a summary. It is explained in detail in Srimad Bhagavatam. If everything is emanating from the absolute truth, then what is the nature of the absolute truth? That is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. The absolute truth must be consciousness. He is self-effulgent, Swarat. We develop our consciousness and knowledge by receiving knowledge from others. But for him, it is said that he is self-effulgent. The whole summary of Vedic knowledge is the Vedanta Sutra. And the Vedanta Sutra is explained by the writer himself in Srimad Bhagavatam. We finally request those who are actually after Vedic knowledge to try to understand the explanation of all Vedic knowledge from Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Giriraj Prabhu, for your reading. So we come to the last conclusion of today's discussion. Summary of the Vedic knowledge is Vedanta Sutra, and its object is Lord Shri Krishna. And by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, in this one moment, he has given us Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. We don't have to go to this whole traditional way of Upanishadic study, Vedic study, but by his grace, we can easily understand Krishna, accept him, chant his holy names, and realize him. So basically, Vedanta Sutra is given in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the essence, crust jewel of the whole Vedic literature. And this is what we have discussed today. If you are able to see this PPT, I'll just zoom it, the picture. So Vedic knowledge, there's Nyaya Prasthan is not mentioned here, but this is just third part is also there. Shruti, Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva, that consist of Samhitas, which are mantras, specifically Brahmanas, which are ritual explanation of the mantras. Explanation of the Samhitas are in Brahmanas. Then esoteric explanation of the mantras are in Aranyakas. Then Upanishads. So you're able to see the Upanishads here, and the Vedas consist of Upanishads. They're Jnana Kanda, philosophy of Brahman. Basically, it brings a person from Karma Kanda section to Jnana Kanda section, and then comes being to the level of soul, and then sends him to the level of super soul, and brings at the precinct of bhakti. That is how this whole Isopanishad will continue. If you go, once we discuss in the successive settings, we'll understand it. And there are Vedangas. And Vedangas, there are Kalpa, ritual details, Siksha, pronunciation, Vakarana, Nirukta, Chandas, Jyotisha. This is also part of the Shruti. And then Smriti consists of all these things: ritual sutras, tantras, pancharatras, puranas, ityasas, Shad Darshanas. In Shad Darshan, Vyasadeva himself has 6 departments in it. Vedanta, Vyasadeva himself is heading that department. Theology of Upanishad, Nyaya specifically, Mimamsa, Jaimini, interpreting spiritual texts, Nyaya, Gautama, philosophy of knowledge including logic, Vaisheshika, that is metaphysics, philosophy of existence, Yoga, Patanjali, Sutra, Sankhya. These are different, it's called Shad Darshanas. Prabhupada writes in Bhagavatam first canto, any preacher should know these things so that one can understand from where it is being quoted. Basically, this is the whole genealogy of whole Vedic literature, Vedic knowledge. There's Shruti, which is revealed by the Lord, Smriti, which is composed by sages according to time, place, circumstances, and then there is Nyaya, which reinforces Shruti. So we will conclude our discussion today with this. If anybody has any questions, we can put forward. It's just 1-2 minutes left. So basically, we just covered today the first section, Introduction to Vedas, which is a lecture of Srila Prabhupada. What we recollected today is Veda is knowledge. We can't access Vedas because of 4 defects, but Vedas are axiomatic truths which do not require any proof. And after that, Vedas have 3 evidences. Technology of a government, somebody invented something and he found an antiseptic property. In that, you qualify a group that he should have heard it comfortably, and he should himself have realized the absolute truth. Brahmani Upa Shamashrayam, Shabdir Pranita. To directive knowledge, again Prabhupada brings out the point, which is everyone can realize him, and then the whole goal of Vedanta Sutra is Krishna himself, and he can be easily understood by reading Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So Prabhupada ends with this. And tomorrow, when the next session is there, we'll be taking up the first invocation of Isopanishad. Om Purnamada Padam Purnamate Purnamade. Isopanishad is a little technical, and to quote some of the pastimes of the Lord to correct and relate. He's a person from the karma level to the bhakti level. Bhakti. Guyatara and Guyatara Guyatama. It's Atma Tattva and Paramatma Tattva. And therefore, have some patience. Even if you are not understood, if you felt it's something very, very difficult or something, no issues. Our real syllabus will start from tomorrow. And it's amazing. Prabhupads are amazing. And Prabhupads are very amazing. And we'll try to bring in Bhagavatam. We'll try to bring in many wonderful purports of Prabhupada, bring in all these things and try to make it little more colorful. But because of the syllabus, we have to go through the whole part of it. Therefore, I just read through the whole thing. If anybody have any questions, you can put it forward. Or already it's time up. We can try to conclude now.
Prabhuji,
If you have any inputs,
I have one question, Prabhuji. So, where did we find this one verse, Prabhuji? Since you said it's not from Isopanishad, this Om Purnamadam Purnamidam, which text, which text, Prabhuji?
This has been added as a supplement to the Isopanishad. Even I was going through the Banaswami Maharaj commentary on different acharyas. There also it is mentioned that specific verse, but there is no specific mention where it has been given. But it's a which is supplemented to this Isha. Actually, tomorrow I'll be speaking. Next session I'll be speaking more about the history of this Isopanishad. Isopanishad is last chapter of Shukla Yajurveda. Yajurveda is Shukla and Krishna. Yajurveda has 40 chapters. Isopanishad is the last chapter. Upanishad speaks about a lot of Jnana section, and then the conclusion is that the purpose of this whole Jnana Kanda is that to surrender to the Supreme. So Isopanishad comes in the last chapter of the Shukla Yajurveda, and that is what is being mentioned there, and it is present there. And this is a discussion which is happening between Manu. This Isopanishad comes in the 8th canto, 10 topics. Sarga Visargascha, Stanam, Shanam, Utaya, Manvayanushakata, Nirodha Mukti Ashraya. So the 7th canto, 8th canto speaks about Manvantara. So in the 8th canto, first chapter, Swayambhu Manu, the first Manvantara, his daughter Akuti gives birth to Yajna. And Swayambhu Manu just retired from his duties, Varnashramanic duties, and he is offering prayers while he's doing the. And that time Yajna, who is his grandson, who is born to Akuti, he comes and rescues him after hearing these prayers. So there also same theme comes, 8th canto, first chapter, this Isha Vashyam, this prayer, or this Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam Yat Kintam Jagatam Digat. Here Isha Vashyam is there, but the same sloka I'll be displaying it to you tomorrow when we'll discuss the first mantra. I'll be taking more of the detail there. But regarding this, where Om Purnamada came from, it's not mentioned. At least I have not come through these commentaries when I read through Banaswami's commentaries, and I tried finding it out. But it's just given that it's supplement which has been given there. But coming to the history of this Upanishad, these are the prayers offered by Swayambhu Manu to Yajna, son of Akuti, and this is being repeated by a spiritual master, his father, and this present format what we have, this Isopanishad, is going to Tadyana Rishi, son of Atharvana, as it is. This with 1 to 18 verses, this format is taken from there right now, what we are discussing now. So this much information I have about this present section which we are discussing with. Originally it was offered as a prayer by Swayambhu Manu to Yajna, but present section which we are taking now, it is a format which Tadyana Rishi of son of Atharvana got it from his spiritual master. The present format with Om Purnamada till all 80 mantras. This is what is mentioned by Bhanu Maharaj in his commentary for Madhvacharya is quoting there in his commentary for Isopanishad. Okay, Prabhu.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanavad from this Lilananda, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, thank you for the nice session, Prabhuji. Sorry, my bandwidth is less, so I'm not turning the video. It's getting low there.
Sure, Prabhuji.
So, Prabhuji, this Isopanishad, for how many classes it is planned, Prabhuji? Just to get an overview.
I think it is for 26 or 25 hours. It will go till 10th of October.
10th of October, yeah. Roughly as much as NOI. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Prabhuji. Yeah, and we
So you finished first unit today. We finished first unit today. Introduction to Vedas. So next Om Purnamada and Ishavasham will try to take. So in that way we'll divide it and we'll cover it.
We'll be doing all 18 verses, Prabhuji.
Yeah, we'll be doing all 18 mantras.
Okay.
Step by step.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And yeah, so Prabhuji, we are having it on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the same time. Every week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Yes, Prabhuji.
Sure, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, I'm not. Do you use WhatsApp? Do I need to add you to this? No.
Somehow I am fortunate enough not to use WhatsApp.
Not yeah, no, because Anantago Prabhu was added to this group.
He is in the group. He's using it for his services.
Okay.
But I'm not having any much services where I have to use WhatsApp. At least for time being. In future, if it comes, then let's see. But I'm on mail. I'm on Gmail. Otherwise, you send him a message, or I'll send you a number. You can send. There's one devotee who stays here. He will inform me. Okay, Prabhuji. You can.
Yeah.
I'll take your number from Anantago Prabhu, and I'll try to send you that WhatsApp number.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, many big festivals on the way, like Radhashtami is there. On the, I don't know which day it is. On that day.
Tuesday. It's Tuesday. 14th September is Tuesday.
Or Tuesday. Then Tuesday will not be interruption to our class.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Prabhuji. We have started Friday today. So Monday will not be issue for me. Monday I'm here in Pune only. Yeah. Wednesday we have ISKCON India Youth Convention at Ahmedabad. Okay. So I may travel. If I'm traveling, then it will be difficult. So in such cases, can we, when I'm traveling or something somewhere like that, we can, which will be a festival date, we can take it, or we have some time on the weekends where things can be done on that week, on such days. This way where your preaching engagement is also not disturbed. At the same time, the syllabus also goes, because coming 8, I'm traveling. That is on next Wednesday.
Yeah, yes, bro. In those cases only we kept Saturday open, so that if anything spills over from the weeks, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we can push it to Saturday evening. But Sunday evening is not possible because Sunday we have a regular.
Yeah. You'll all be having your programs. So in that case, for compensating that Wednesday one, because I'll be going on 8th, I'll be coming back on 10th. Again, I'll be traveling because it's 4 days youth convention. It's in Ahmedabad, WIDC. So again, next Saturday will be difficult for me. So should we have it tomorrow? Or when do you feel we can have it covered? Try to cover that Wednesday section.
Prabhuji's and Mataji's, anybody has any problem for tomorrow evening?
Tomorrow is okay, bro.
Yeah, we can continue with tomorrow, Prabhuji. Tomorrow 6:30.
Timing also you can fix, because tomorrow I'm flexible, because I'm in temple only. Today is Ekadashi, Dwadashi, I stay in temple, I don't travel anywhere. So if you want timing also, if you want 6:30 to 8 o'clock your preaching engagement, something like that, I want to do it in afternoon or little early somewhere, that's fine. That you can, no issue. But I'm comfortable 6:30 to 8, no issues.
We'll have 6:30 to 8 only tomorrow.
Same time.
Yeah, same time.
That will be very good. We have just finished first unit today, second unit Om Purnamada. We'll have a discussion, and then again on Sunday we'll have a gap. Monday we'll try to cover Ishavasham. The first unit we'll try to.
Yes.
Tomorrow we'll take the whole flow of Isopanishad and then cover first invocation. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, can we get the notes? Prabhuji, can we get the notes?
I'll try to send PDF. I'll try to send PDF to Prabhuji Lilananda.
Yeah, I'll share with everyone. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakti ki jai.
Hari